Ladies and gentlemen, it does look like Georgia is on the verge of indicting former President Donald Trump. Now, I can't say with certainty that it's going to take place. Quote, I expect to see indictments in Fulton County before I see any federal indictments, says a Georgia State University law professor. This is an ABC News article. Whether they prosecute him, they will not be able to win a conviction, okay? So that's number one. Number two, Biden's presidency is collapsing. I talk a lot about this on H.A. Goodman's other channel. Go there today, and also the segment at 8 a.m. I actually just did this segment right now. I had another segment that was supposed to be for 11 a.m., and that'll be at around 2 p.m. And then I'll have live streams today on this channel. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if the most absurd and, I would say, un-American, because going after a former president for a phone conversation and indicting him is not only... It's something that I can't even... only in this day and age would that ever happen. Okay, President Obama would never have been indicted. Reagan, JFK, for a phone conversation. But here, Trump investigations, Georgia prosecutors ups anticipation. Initially, I thought that they kept the grand jury report secret, and then I thought, well, that would mean that they weren't going to indict Trump. But I do think it's quite possible former President Donald Trump and his allies have been put on notice by a prosecutor. Citizens for responsibility, and Trump's Fannie Willis is going to indict Trump soon. Here's what that looks like. They will not be able to convict him because he did not pressure anyone. They're trying to do what they did with impeachment, twist words, but this is an article, citizensforethics.org, O-R-G, so there are numerous statutes here, all emanating from the phone conversation with Raffensperger. Okay. Here you have the state, so the state going after Trump, he can't be pardoned if a state indicts him. That's one issue. But the issue here is that they are trying to twist certain statements within the call with Georgia's Secretary of State to make it sound as if he is conducting an illegal request or demand, okay? He wasn't. The phone conversation ended with the Secretary of State thanking him. But here, let's just read this. Trump investigations, Georgia prosecutor ups anticipation. Again, hit subscribe to this channel. We'll talk about this. There's an indictment for public relations purposes. All of this, they are desperate to get Trump, okay? They despise him. He's a menace to their system. And by the way, he can still run for president, even with indicted, even prosecuted, which they won't be able to prosecute him, okay? They're getting him on a phone call. We'll talk about that. But hit subscribe 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. every single day. I already had an 11 a.m. segment, but I'm thinking about this right now, and I want everyone to kind of I want everyone to be prepared for the possibility that he is indicted eventually or soon. The reason is that they couldn't get him on his tax returns. They couldn't get him at the Mueller probe. They couldn't get him with Stormy. They couldn't get him with a lot of things. This issue, you have a D.C. jury, they could there's no precedent here. So there's no precedent they couldn't get him for January with Kinzinger and Cheney. He didn't commit crimes. He didn't even commit a crime with this phone conversations. this phone conversation. But here, Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis argued in court last week the decisions in the case were imminent and that reports publication could jeopardize the rights of future defendants. This could very well mean that he's going to be indicted. If he's indicted, they're not going to be able to prosecute him. There's a chance. But it's going to be very difficult to do so with a phone conversation. And he says, okay, so the phone conversation, anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Hit subscribe to this channel, 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. every morning on H.A. Goodman of over 203,000 subs. Become part of the newsletter at hagoodman.com. You can read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, and other publications. To my new Patreons, thank you. I cannot thank you enough, ladies and gentlemen. The super thanks is below next to the like and the share buttons, and go to H.A. Goodman right now. H.A. Goodman's other channel, right now, I have very important segments on the classified data debacle. They're trying to get Trump on the quote, all I want to do is this, I just want to find, okay. So they're twisting that into, he's trying to force state officials to find him what he needs to then usurp the will of the people and to devour democracy alongside, the fast food that he devours. It's like, it's a mentality or a fantasy that even spans beyond the fantasy of collusion with another country, which never happened. The only reason I think this is possible, ladies and gentlemen, that they indict him on this is the following, okay? No need to unsubscribe, by the way, for people who don't understand what I'm not saying he should be indicted, okay? I know there's going to be one person out there, I'm unsobbing! You don't have to do that because, trust me, I'm trying to preach to the choir here. I think this is absolutely absurd. And they couldn't get him on Texas. They couldn't get him on Stormy. They couldn't get him with Kinzinger and Cheney. They definitely couldn't get him with Mueller because he didn't commit a crime. He didn't commit a crime here in that phone conversation with the Secretary of State in Georgia. The thing, though, is that they have the transcript and they have what, if you want to call, efforts to find whatever it is he needed to be found, okay? They can spin that in any way possible. If CNN and MSNBC and the Washington Post and the Times talk about it, then it'll filter through, and then you'll have tens of millions of Americans believing it without any critical thinking. Just like he worked with another country, and with the Stormy, and then with January, and then with his tax returns, they'll believe everything, and then they'll just kind of forget about it because he's not indicted. This is a state prosecution. Also, the Georgia Republican Party doesn't like Trump. That's a big problem also. I don't know if he's going to get any backing or support from the Republicans in Georgia. Okay? That is a huge problem. So, you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where Biden's presidency is collapsing before our very eyes. Democrats need something, whether they can convict him or not. They need something. This will only make him more powerful. Trump is the Obi-Wan Kenobi of politics. What they do to try to hurt him makes him more powerful, just like Star Wars. Okay, so I forgot the exact quote from Obi-Wan Kenobi, but you can give me the quote below if you remember it. The grand jury was dissolved early this week after wrapping up its work. Finalizing its report, the grand jurors recommended the report be made public. The issue here is that it's not public because it might, defendants. So what was the, so maybe I did not could jeopardize the rights of future defendants. Okay, that could be Trump. They could indict Trump. This could be, again, I said 23 and 24. This year and next year will be crossing the Rubicon even into more political madness. They're going to try to indict Trump, I think. I hope I'm wrong. It'll backfire. It won't work. He'll be more popular than ever. People will realize that what they're accusing him of, he didn't do. They will not be able to successfully convict him. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. There's only so much you could derive from a phone conversation. And I think that the phone conversation will be enough for these prosecutors to indict him, but not enough to convict him. Give me your thoughts. Hit subscribe. I wasn't even going to do this segment, and I came across this ABC News article. Trump investigations, Georgia prosecutors up anticipation. I think that he could very well be indicted, which would not hurt him, actually, politically. Give me your